This is the Modi Diaries, a special telecast where we delve into Prime Minister Narendra Modi's statesmanship. Today, we take a pause from PM Modi's role in the 2024 general elections and take a deep dive into his statesmanship. Today, we will talk about Prime Minister Modi's statesmanship and bipartisanship, highlighting his ability to keep the political landscape aside and earn respect from rivals, with a focal point of his respect for political stalwarts from opposition parties, evident in gestures such as conferring the Bharat Ratna upon individuals like Karpuri Thakur, P.V. Narasimha Rao and Chaudhry Charan Singh, former Prime Ministers of India. Additionally, Modi has recognized the contributions of opposition leaders such as Jawaharlal Nehru, Ghulam Nabi Azad, former PM Manmohan Singh, to the former President of India, Pranab Mukherjee. Beyond politics, Modi's statesmanship is evident in his empathy and outreach, from consoling ISRO chiefs, Team India after losing the World Cup, to writing letters to young students as well. Modi's engagement with Olympians, hosting all-party meets, and his spontaneous interactions like walking amongst crowds during rallies contribute to the multifaceted examination of his statesmanship. From keeping a check on health of opposition leaders to interacting with them, these actions underscore his commitment to bridging political divides and valuing every individual's role in nation building. However, we critically analyze whether these gestures alone define him as a true statesman, considering various aspects of his leadership and governance style. Let's listen to what PM said about political leaders in the past.
जब भी हमारे लोकतंत्र की चर्चा होगी तो कुछ माननीय सदस्यों की जो चर्चा होगी उसमें माननीय डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह की योगदान की चर्चा जरूर। ये वो सदन है जहां पंडित जी को इसलिए भी याद किएगा, अनेक बातों के लिए याद करेगा, लेकिन हम जरूर याद करेंगे इसी सदन में पंडित नेहरू का एट द स्ट्रोक ऑफ मिडनाइट की गूंज हम सबको प्रेरित करती रहेगी। और इसी सदन में अटल जी ने कहा था, वो शब्द आज भी गूंज रहे हैं इस सदन में, सरकारें आएगी जाएगी, पार्टियां बनेगी बिगड़ेगी, लेकिन ये देश रहना चाहिए। दूसरे दिन सुबह फोन आया कि मोदी जी सब लोग पहुंच गए। इसलिए एक मित्र के रूप में गुलाम नबी जी को घटनाओं और अनुभव के आधार पर मैं आदर करता हूं।
Deshat Nigam, political analyst, is joining us live. We also have Arun Anand, author and columnist, live with us. Savio Rodriguez, BJP leader, is live with us. Sumitra Goenka, political analyst, also joins the broadcast. Let me bring in Deshat Nigam onto the broadcast first. Deshat Nigam, Prime Minister Modi has certainly adopted a statesman-like approach in dealing with political problems, parliament, and many other spheres of public life, isn't it?
In fact, whoever has followed the life of Modi ji will certainly agree to certain principles, that he has kept nation first, then comes the party, and then comes the individual. That is why his recognition to anyone who has contributed even an iota of contribution towards India, he has given due recognition. Now, if you look at the definition of a statesman, somebody who's deft in governance and policy making, somebody who's very skillful, respected, and somebody who's above petty politics. And that is what we see in Mr. Modi. And Mr. Modi, as you rightly pointed out, giving Bharat Ratna to Charan Singh Saab and Karpuri Thakur and various other people, recognition to Sardar Patel and various other, you can take the names, even Veer Savarkar, also Subhash Chandra Bose. The recognition he has given to all youths, and irrespective of what philosophy or ideology you belong to. In fact, he recognized Somnath Chatterjee also, his contribution in one of his speeches in the past, who was the speaker and a leftist also. So to rise above politics is the first sign of a skillful politician, respected politician who does not give or is affected by petty politics. And that is what we have seen. Installing the statue of Subhash Chandra Bose in the India Gate lawns is something which is well remembered by everybody. The Kartavya Path, the Rajpath being converted into Kartavya Path, which means the dominant philosophy of the Prime Minister is his duties and responsibilities, which he's trying to promote in public life. We all are aware of our rights. No doubt we are all aware of our rights. But our focus today is on the common man's duties and responsibilities, and right till the top to the Prime Minister. And that is why he calls himself Pradhan Sevak. So his statesmanship qualities are very well evident, and also in terms of recognition. Look at the Padma Awards, the recognition, the kind of recognition that is being given to the common people of this country. That's a sign of statesmanship. Nobody can deny it. The only statesman that I had heard was George Washington. Once upon a time, if you read about him, he was above normal petty politics. And now we hear about Modi ji. The fact remains, the history will remember a person from his deeds, and that deeds speak louder than words. And that is what we have seen in Prime Minister Modi as to the shift that has taken place from the previous governance of sycophancy, dynasty politics, sense of entitlement, towards duties and responsibilities where nation stands first. And anybody who tries to harm the nation is to be taken to task, whether it is through corruption, through harming the nation, or dividing the country. And I think that is what for Mr. Modi will be remembered as a statesman. Uday.
All right. Let me also, in fact, quickly take that across to Arun Anand. Arun Anand, is it fair to call Prime Minister Modi a statesman in the way he deals with his political rivals, with the opposition and other issues in the country?
Yeah, I think, he is statesman. But I think you have to go a little bit because Nigamji has already, elaborated upon it, that why, how, and why basically Modi should be called a statesman. But how this thing has happened, how has he become a statesman? I think that's a very interesting phenomenon which you have to look. I think largely it has to come from his background of being trained in RSS. So first he was an RSS volunteer, and then he became an RSS pracharak. The RSS pracharaks, I always say there is a very interesting, RSS pracharaks are basically full-timers. So they are celibate, they don't get married, they don't have a family, and they live for nation, they die for nation. And they are what you call the postcards without address. So they can be sent anywhere. And then, most of, when you are a full-timer, and Modi ji was a full-timer in 1970s, when Bala Saheb Devras, the third RSS chief, was at the helm of affairs in RSS. And that time, and he has led from the front during the emergency also. So he has, gone through that fire, and as an RSS pracharak, he has met people, he has sat with them. He has got that, he knows the, many people are very surprised at how come, he is so sharp that he knows what the nation is thinking. It all comes from basically background that nation comes first. See, you become a statesman when you think that nation comes first and individuals do not matter. And that is the sanskar, that is the thing which he has got from RSS, and that is ingrained in him. So I think that's how, and to a large extent, Vajpayee was also a statesman, but Modi ji, because now BJP has majority and he has that space of maneuvering where that statesmanship can be displayed fully. So, and globally also, if you look at it, he is considered to be a statesman. There are heads of nations who are touching his feet, and wherever he goes, the way diaspora responds. And also he is being asked to, India plays a very major role now on in terms of, resolving conflicts at the international level. So overall, I think it is an outcome of the way he has got trained, and of course he has sharpened his skills, and he comes across as a statesman, not only at the domestic stage, but also, globally.
Yes. Okay. Savio, is that something you agree with? Because, very few political leaders in our country, adopt a bipartisan approach when it comes to praising opponents, when it comes to speaking about political rivals, both inside and outside the political arena. But Prime Minister Modi has done so. In fact, he's even awarded the Bharat Ratna to individuals like Chaudhry Charan Singh and PV Narasimha Rao, who have not been BJP leaders or workers?
Uday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is beyond being a statesman. Statesman is a term that's very, very loosely used by people in the West to talk about political acumen or a manner of governance in which a political leader works. Modi is not working like a political leader. Modi is working as the Pradhan Sevak. So his entire principle is based on seva. If you look and study him from the time he got into politics, from the time he was with RSS, as the fellow panelists before said, you will see that his aim, his intention has been service, seva to the people, dharma, which is another very strong trait or cornerstone of his belief system. Sanatan Dharma and Dharma, he sees his responsibility towards the people of India and the rest of the world as his Dharma. He sees India as the beacon of hope in a conflicting world. Look at the world around you. It is India, which is rising as Bharat, that will eventually become the beacon of hope in a conflicting world. And he realizes that, he understands that. Because a lot of the principles that are there in Narendra Modi are the principles that exist in the cultural ethos of what Bharat is all about. That Sanatan Dharma belief, the want for seva, the natural inclination to seva. These are not principles of the West. These are principles of Bharat that is ingrained into him. It's rooted in him. So you have not seen that in a leader before, because leaders before were always trying to appease the Western ideology of governance. Modi is neither trying to appease the Western idea of governance, neither is he trying to correct them. All he's doing is displaying what is his belief system from a humanitarian point of view, from a political point of view, from a nation that is growing point of view. He's doing all that on the principles of Sanatan Dharma. And the Sanatan Dharma principles are about seva. And today, when you look at, for somebody like me, who spent the last 2,952 hours, along with my colleague Amit Bagaria, authoring a book on the transformational policies of Narendra Modi, you will realize that at the root of his policies is his intent to transform the lives of every single citizen of this country, irrespective of their caste and creed. And those principles of not having political greed, of not wanting to accumulate wealth, of not wanting to have a legacy that's going to be left over for a family, that's not what he is. He is here as a soldier for Bharat Mata, as a leader for Bharat, to take Bharat forward towards where Bharat has to rise up to. And he's coming at an opportune time. And I keep saying that if there's one thing that drives Narendra Modi, Uday, is the fact that he's very, very spiritually attuned to what the Divine Mother, what Bharat Mata wants from him. And that's why he's able to take the actual cultural ethos and the spiritual ethos of Bharat forward to the rest of the world.
Yes. Sumitra Goenka, that question to you as well. Clearly, of course, adopting a bipartisan approach, which is often needed on issues of priority. Of course, apart from the praise for political opponents, but very often our politicians are not bipartisan when it comes to issues, to take India forward, where everyone should unite.
Right. So Uday, I completely agree with whatever points my other co-panelists have just spoken about. And I believe that Prime Minister Modi's conduct within the House and even outside, whenever he is speaking at forums or whenever he is visiting other countries or whenever he is speaking to the citizens of the country also, it all displays the characteristic of being a visionary leader and a statesman. Prime Minister Modi works on the principle of Antodaya, that is the last mile delivery be it for women or the poor or the deprived farmers, for the deprived people or the farmers or the youth. So basically, whenever he has designed a program, he has ensured that the last mile delivery is possible, and he has taken steps to see that the dashboard is followed and the beneficiaries are really benefiting from whatever has to reach them. Secondly, he believes in the concept of Vasudeva Kutumbakam, and if you look at the steps which he has taken, be it yoga or be it sending vaccines to all the nations during the COVID period, or helping other nations during calamities like earthquakes or other issues, or our position during certain wars like the Ukraine-Russia war or the current conflict which is happening in Israel and other nations. So the point of view, what I'm trying to put out here is India is emerging as a different nation under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. So he is indeed a statesman and a visionary leader who is trying to steer the Indian aspirations so that the nation becomes the best in the world as far as the living standards are concerned for its citizens and the people residing in. He is also keen to ensure that India contributes towards protecting the human rights as well as overall well-being of the people of the planet. He is equally vocal about the equality amongst nations so that there's no discrimination of any kind. Now, if you look at the leaders or the iconic leaders, I would say, then the kind of recognition that Subhash Chandra Bose or say Lachit Barphukan or Kempe Gowda or Sardar Patel, Shyamji Krishna Verma, that is even before he became the Prime Minister of the nation, the kind of respect that he has given to Shyamji Krishna Verma, or be it for Mahatma Gandhi or Pandit Nehru, like when he entered the new parliament, he was holding the Sengol. So this kind of recognition and respect to the leaders of India, whom different parts of the nation respect, and giving them that kind of recognition, we have never seen that happening. And when we talk about the contemporary leaders or just leaders before him, like be it PV Narasimha Rao or Karpuri Thakur, these people have got the recognition, like they have been given the Bharat Ratna, which is across party lines. So I think what you are talking about is really something which we have not seen in any of the prime ministers before Prime Minister Modi, and I totally believe that he is beyond.
Okay, I think we've lost Sumitra there, but it's there in many other aspects as well, and we want to also talk about the fact that Prime Minister Modi has also, being a true statesman, apart from of course his outreach to opposition leaders, also done several significant gestures, like the consoling of the ISRO chief. When the first time Chandrayaan did not land on the moon, the mission was not successful. He didn't just disappear or give up on our men, at the ISRO center in Sriharikota. He went there himself and consoled the ISRO chief. In fact, hugged him, and the ISRO chief cried on the Prime Minister's shoulders. We also saw him meet our boys in blue when they lost the World Cup fund. They didn't win. The Prime Minister went to cheer them on, but he didn't leave the stadium. He went and met the boys in blue and again hugged them, and some of them cried on PM's shoulder again. Also, we saw how he wrote letters to young students telling them about examinations, saying that it's not the be-all and end-all. So these are also very important gestures, Mr. Nigam, isn't it, for a Prime Minister to do?
Yes. Yes, Uday, in fact, justifiably so that Mr. Modi is the most popular leader of the world with 78% approval rating. The most suited person and well-placed person for dispute and conflict resolution in the world, whether it is Ukraine, whether it is Gaza, and he's best suited. And most of the leaders do call him. They may be adversaries to each other. They do call Indian Prime Minister. So that's one aspect we have seen, and recognition of India and Mr. Modi in the global world order, a new multipolar world order which has arisen in the world instead of a bipolar world order that we have seen in the past. And the way India was able to balance the Russia, with American interest, or Iran, Israel, and all those are signs of statesmanship at the highest level. Now, as you pointed out, I still remember when the Indian hockey women teams were crying after losing to Australia. The call went from Prime Minister Modi, and he, really talked to them, motivated them, and he always does so. Whether it is ISRO chief, as you said, or men in blue in cricket. So these are the signs of a person which clearly shows one of his core personalities. When you are down, that is the time when you have to get up and resolve yourself and be resolute, and again take up the task that you have in hand. And that is why you see the immense amount of energy. I mean, people around me keep on asking, from where does he get so much of energy? Right from day early in the morning, looking at the governance, then campaigning, going down south, east, west, in a same day, almost traveling in all the corners of the country. So this is where the inner strength comes from, which Arun Anand was pointing it out. As a trained pracharak in the RSS, the background that he has, and the values that he imbibed from RSS, that yourself comes last. The nation comes, the society comes first, the Sangathan comes first. So these are the values that keeps on motivating him. And this is one of the biggest quality of a statesman, where you keep yourself last and keep the rest of the things as number one. That is one of the biggest qualities which we don't see in a lot of leaders today, whether it is in the fields of sport, or whether it is in the field of economy, politics, or in the field of international relations. Similarly, as Sumitra also pointed out, Vasudev Kutumbakam, the world is a family. The India is a family. The world is a family. So instead of competing with each other, we have to complement each other. We have to be, be empathetic to the needs of the people or the concerns of the people. Instead of being adversarial with each other, we have to be, in a win-win situation. Find out ways where we have a win-win situation for all the parties. That is where Prime Minister Modi's role comes into play, whether it is in terms of domestic politics or international relations or politics or any matter. I think if you have that kind of an approach where you do not consider yourself as adversaries to anybody and you find out a solution which is beneficial for all, I think that's one of the highest qualities of a statesman today.
Absolutely. And, Arun Anand again gestures like meeting the Olympians, the Commonwealth medalists, the Paralympians, speaking to some of them as well, even when they lose on the phone. From his gestures of sometimes just going and meeting the crowd, like after the Republic Day parade and after other public occasions. These are not things done before, and they all add to his persona and personality of a global leader, of a statesman, isn't it?
See, the thing is that he is an original thinker. And he's an original thinker because he's connected directly to the ground. If you remember his first speech, which he gave from the ramparts of Red Fort in 2014, so he talked about, toilets, and he talked about, Beti Bachao. So, there was a lot of discussion on this thing, that how come, a prime minister is talking about toilets from the ramparts of Red Fort? Because that's the genuine problem which, especially millions of people in its country were facing. So he has actually brought the whole political structure upside down. So that has rattled, his opponents also. So I always say, that his opponents are, kind of playing with a tennis ball and he's playing rugby. So that's why they are not able to, kind of match him. So he is in a different league because he's connected directly to the ground. And he's connected directly to the ground because he has come to politics not to make money, not to, as my earlier fellow panelist said, not to leave a personal legacy, but to build this nation, or to, you can say, to rebuild this nation. One is that. Second is, he understands, it's a very interesting paradoxical thing that on one on one spectrum of the politics, you have leaders who are much younger to him, who are in a position but who are not able to relate to the youth of the country. But there is a prime minister, who is connecting with the gamers, the people who are playing, online games. Here is a person who is connecting with, the influencers on social media, the content creators. Who could have thought, that a prime minister would be meeting, gamers, or a prime minister would be, meeting content creators on YouTube and Instagram. So he believes not in following the traditional mount. So you can't, so he is, and another thing is that after every 2 or 3 years, he is kind of reinventing himself. So people generally see, it's Modi, Modi 1, Modi 2, Modi 3.0, Modi 4.0. So that also baffles his, kind of opponents. And as I said, and most important thing is that he is an unapologetic Sanatan. He is not an apologetic Sanatan. And he believes, and there is a very fine difference between, being assertive and being aggressive. So Narendra Modi, he is assertive. He's not aggressive. And that assertiveness we have shown on the international, in the international arena also, when the West was, trying to tell us that why we should not buy or the way we should deal with Russia. So we told them, okay, we know basically how to deal with Russia. And where do you get a prime minister who can stop two countries who are at war for several hours so that the citizens of his country can be taken out from the war zone? It's unprecedented. But all this has come basically because he remains connected to the ground. He knows the aspirations of the young people, and he believes in doing seva. And his mind is absolutely crystal clear that what he has to do about the do's and the don'ts. So there are no personal favors which needed to be doled out. We have seen over a period of last 10 years that many people were considered to be close to him politically. But as you see, basically, they have gone into the political oblivion. So because they were not able to deliver within the government or within the party also, it's basically perform or perish. So I think that's...
Savio, last word to you.
Yeah.
Closing comment.
Uday, I think, like all my panelists said, they've got one thing very right as far as Prime Minister Modi is concerned. Prime Minister Modi is a Sanatani, is a follower of Sanatan Dharma, and the basic principle of Sanatan Dharma is seva. And today, he's not the Prime Minister of India. That's the term the world gives him and we give him in terms of the political positioning that he has. But he himself has positioned himself as a Pradhan Sevak.
Yes.
And that is really the true character of Prime Minister Modi. Seva, Pradhan Sevak, service to all in India and across the world. You will see that Prime Minister Modi will take he's not a conflict resolver. That is step 2. He's actually a Sanatan Dharma follower who believes in conflict avoidance. So what he's been doing with his foreign policies and other policies in India is to avoid the conflict in a very systematic, in a very wonderful way that brings peace to everybody. And that's his hallmark. He's a Pradhan Seva.
Okay. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us. We've run completely out of time.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.